And I like being here. I mean, that's what made me home here. I really love it. You can't beat the East Lancs Railway. It really is the place to be.
Dave Taylor asked permission to park his new home, named for his wife Margaret, on this railway siding. So intertwined is his life and this railway.
Right, this was just a tip. And I decided over the years to turn it into a decent garden. I was just fed up with the mess and the state of this place. So as you can see, I started over there and gradually worked my way down through the picnic area into the fish pond. And then 4.5 years ago, my wife passed away, and I didn't want to bury her in a cemetery, so the railway agreed to be putting her ashes in the garden, and that's where they are to this day.
I came to the railway in 1986 because I've always been a railway enthusiast, and I wanted to do something involved in a railway. Gradually I became a guard. No one knew I was a priest, but as time went on they found out, and I was asked on one occasion to bury the ashes of Margaret in the Garden of Remembrance, and then Roger in his will wanted his ashes scattered from a moving train onto the line, and they asked me to do that as well, and I was absolutely delighted.
East Lancs specialises in finding comfortable round holes for square pegs.
I am the carriage and wagon director on East Lancashire Railway, and in real life and in private life, I sell Smarties and Kit Kat. This is a Great Western observation saloon, used by directors of the Great Western Railway. It's been restored by Pete Waterman, who's, like ourselves, a railway enthusiast, and it's a great privilege to me and one of the perks as chairman to be able to use it.
No, you talk to other planners and they will say that their key to success was different. Ours happened to be a railway. We had an active volunteer force who wanted to progress their own dreams, and a partnership was forged between the local authorities and the voluntary sectors and the communities. The railway brought prosperity to the valley in the 1850s, and in those days the valley was known as the Golden Valley. Hopefully the railway, based on being a tourist attraction, has brought those golden days back again.
For Brian Topping, whom Dr. Beeching's cuts reduced from a train driver to a truck driver, what has been lost in terms of the railways can't be forgiven. For him, it's become a private vendetta.
You get all the government now whinging about them, say, but on rail. What rail? What railway? There's no railway into Rottenstall apart from Preserve Railway. Well, in BR days, there was a railway into Rottenstall. The passenger service into Rottenstall. There isn't now, only goes on the weekend. They're the same up and down the railway. They've closed it, it's gone.
That long, dark winter of disillusionment for the railways and the supporters seems to be frozen in time and memory. This is the final irony. For reasons no one can fathom, all the preserved railways up and down the country are charged twice as much to move their steam engines on the mainline railway network than it costs to have them transported by road. So that's how visiting locomotives are moved, on the motorways, and not on the railways they were built for.
When you buy any new Renault Megane Classic, the price includes 3 years warranty, 2 years servicing, and 1 year's road fund licence. That's quite a package. Luckily, the Classic's got quite a boot. The Megane Classic 321 package. Good thinking, Renault.
You're standing tall, you've got it all. You're a waste paper bin that's gone someplace. You're flying high, waste paper guy. This Reader's Digest put a smile on your face.
Every Reader's Digest prize draw, someone really wins £250,000. And what do? You throw it in the bin.
Reader's Digest, Here's a pin.
Reader's Digest prize draw. Win it, don't bin it.
Not only is everything reduced, there's many double discounts and 3 years free credit with nothing to pay for the first year. But combination offer ends Sunday 5 p.m. at Northern Upholstery and DFS.
We get about 1,000 visitors up here on Sundays. It gets quite busy. They come to look at the old station. Of course, it isn't the old station. It's a new one that we had to build. We got all the suitcases out, the old-fashioned things. We tried to work ourselves on the 50s, which I think we achieve. That takes them back to those times. And 10 years ago, there was no station building at all. We had to start from scratch. It was just completely overgrown, weeds coming through the track. Just Ireland.
Volunteer Station Master Brian Armand is Ramsbottom's unofficial ambassador. He's had to learn to cope with the flood of dignitaries who have come up the line to witness for themselves the success of this railway and the new station.
As far as I'm concerned, the investment that the council has put into East Lancs Railway is one of the best investments the council has made. One just has to look around the station this morning. It's heaving with people. There's families come for the day out. The shops in the town are booming. There's new businesses, new restaurants opening. What more could one ask from an investment?
It's a trick of the preserved steam railway to take you through the time warp and back into a half-remembered past. Back to a more ordered Britain, when it seemed that railways were a fixed part of the scenery. There are little bits of that history preserved all along this line, and some of them might surprise your average steam buff.
Bolton Street Tunnel was built in 1846 by the original East Lancashire Railway, and a few years afterwards they carved this coat of arms on the pillar here. And in the centre you can see the carving of the Red Rose of Lancashire, and surrounding it in the garter the motto of the company, Celeritate et Utilitate, which roughly translates as with speed, because in 1851 the shareholders complained that out of 50 locomotives only 5 were serviceable.
Railways are so much a fixture of our lives, we even see the rail line when it's no longer there. Like an event waiting to happen, the old line through the Peak National Park is presently reduced to the status of a heritage trail. And it will take more than just track and engines to recreate this railway. The big start to do just that has already been made, but outside the confines of the park. Peak Rail has just completed the latest stage of its plan and extended its track to almost 5 miles, only to be stopped dead on the wrong side of the A6 road. Arthur Dudson designed this last stretch of the railway, and he's encyclopedic on the subject. But it's the site that appeals most to him.
This site has been developed by Peak Rail. It is 23 acres in area, and therefore we have plenty of room to operate. We are not allowed to store rolling stock in the Peak National Park, which is just north of this site, and therefore it is the ideal place for us to establish as our main depot for locomotive and rolling stock maintenance.
All that said, Arthur is only telling half the story. There is another hidden asset on this site, but it will take lots of real muscle to reveal itself to the casual onlooker. Trainee territorial sappers come free of charge in exchange for the chance to develop their skills, as Peak Rail strives to locate and recapture a railway path that lies hidden under this growth.
Just give him a few minutes in. There's plenty of room.
This is no brutal rape of the landscape. The army are digging into the very recent past here. Under this new surface greenery, they expect to find a lost railway world, a complete system of service pits and turntables and main supplies of a major rail complex that once handled 50 locomotives a day.
When I came back here with Peak Rail, most of the Peak Rail members didn't know this place existed. They've read about it in books, but since it was demolished, they couldn't find no record of it. There was virtually no traces left of it at all.
It's Peak Rail's good fortune to have uncovered a working railway depot, providing the perfect launch pad to bridge the main roads and link up once more with the tunnels and track bed in the park.
Oh, we're doing a nice archaeological dig with the help of the Territorial Army. Oh, eventually it will all come back to life. As you can see, blue brick floors are all pretty well intact, so it will recreate some of the past. I am the only original BR member of staff of Peak Rail. Quite a lot of my old friends come down and see me, have a see how I'm going on and say, by God, Dick, you're bringing some memories back for me.